His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa held a telephone call with His Highness the Emir of State of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. During the call, His Majesty the King expressed the kingdoms of Bahrain's full solidarity with the State of Qatar and strongly condemned the attack that targeted the sovereignty of Qatar by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, which constitutes a blatant violation of Qatar's sovereignty and airspace and a clear breach of the international law and the United Nations Charter. His Majesty reaffirmed Bahrain's steadfast position in standing by Qatar, stressing that the kingdom places all its capabilities at the disposal of Qatar in support of any measure it takes. His Majesty emphasized that the bonds of brotherhood and kinship that unite Bahrain and Qatar and all the countries of the GCC requires standing together as one in the face of such violations, intensifying efforts to exercise restraint and avoid escalation, and stressing the importance of resolving disputes through peaceful means. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received a telephone call from the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin. During the call, the close bilateral relations and various aspects of cooperation between the two countries were reviewed, as well as a means to further enhance and develop them in various domains that serve their mutual interests. His Majesty the King expressed gratitude to the Russian President for the reception and hospitality extended to the delegation of Bahrain, headed by the representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, upon the kingdom's participation in the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum as an official guest of honor. His Majesty also emphasized the importance of striving for peace, security and stability in the region and in the world, and restoring diplomatic solutions and dialogue to resolve crises in the way that preserves the security, stability and safety of all peoples of the region. His Majesty expressed hope to achieve peace in the region and reach a comprehensive peace. The two leaders also reaffirmed the importance of Russia's initiative to hold the first Arab-Russian summit in Moscow next October. His Majesty the King also praised the pivotal role of the Russian President in further advancing efforts to achieve peace and working amid the increasing challenges facing energy security and maritime navigation. The Russian President expressed thanks to and appreciation to His Majesty the King for his keenness and interest in further strengthening cooperation and the strong bonds of friendship with Russia. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa received a telephone call from the Prime Minister of Lebanon, Nawaf Salam, during his brief visit to the Kingdom of Bahrain. During the call, His Majesty affirmed the depth and strength of the fraternal relations that bind Bahrain and Lebanon, and the Kingdom's constant keenness to support development across various domains to meet the aspiration of both countries and their peoples. His Majesty requested that he conveyed greetings to the President of Lebanon, Joseph Aoun, and extended best wishes for continued progress and growth to Lebanon. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa also received a telephone call from the Lebanese Prime Minister, during which he confirmed the strong ties between Bahrain and Lebanon, which continue to advance towards further development and progress, opening wider horizons for cooperation and joint coordination between the two countries and their peoples. His Royal Highness also requested that he convey his greetings to the President of Lebanon and extended best wishes for continued progress and growth to Lebanon. The Prime Minister of Lebanon expressed thanks and gratitude to His Majesty and His Royal Highness, appreciating the reception and his accompanying delegation received during his stay in Bahrain. He affirmed Lebanon's firm and supportive stance towards Bahrain and all GCC countries in confronting any aggression that threatens their security, sovereignty and stability. The Kingdom of Bahrain's delegation, led by the representative of His Majesty the King for Humanitarian Work and Youth Affairs, His Highness Sheikh Nasser bin Hamad Al Khalifa, concluded its participation in the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, attended by leaders and decision makers worldwide. More in this report.
To enhance economic and commercial ties between Bahrain and Russia, the Bahraini delegation concluded its participation in the 28th St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, a key global platform for political and economic leaders. As a guest of honor, Bahrain used this opportunity to promote economic dialogue for regional security and stability, reflecting international confidence in the kingdom as a transparent and open investment partner. This participation highlights Bahrain's important role in global cooperation and supports its Economic Vision 2030 goals to diversify income and expand strategic ties with East and West. Bahrain also showcased its advanced investment environment and attractive legislation, reinforcing its position as a gateway to Gulf markets.
Bahrain affirmed its full support and solidarity with Qatar following the Iranian attack on Qatari territory. In the official statement, Bahrain expressed its unwavering support of Qatar, emphasizing that its solidarity stems from deep-rooted bonds among the Gulf Cooperation Council states. The kingdom underscores the importance of collective unity during the critical period, calling for concerted efforts to exercise restraint, avoid escalation, and resolve disputes through peaceful means. The kingdom strongly condemned the attack targeting the sovereignty of Qatar and considered it a blatant violation of Qatar's sovereignty and airspace, as well as a breach of the international law and the Charter of the United Nations. Qatar's Ministry of Defense had announced that air defenses successfully intercepted a missile attack targeting Al Udeid Air Base. The ministry said that due to the vigilance of the armed forces and the precautionary measures taken, the incident did not result in any deaths or injuries. The ministry reiterated that Qatar's airspace and territories are safe and that the Qatari armed forces are always ready to deal with any danger. Reactions to the missile attack on Qatar's Al Udeid base in Qatar have been widespread. Saudi Arabia expressed its condemnation and strong denunciation of Iran's attack on Qatar, stressing that it represents a blatant violation of international law and the principles of good neighborliness, and considered it unacceptable and unjustifiable. The UAE condemned the Iranian Revolutionary Guards targeting Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, considering it a violation of the sovereignty of Qatar and its airspace and of international law and the UN Charter. stressing its rejection of any aggression that threatens the security of Qatar. Kuwait expressed its condemnation and denunciation of the attacks on Qatar, considering it a blatant violation of Qatari sovereignty and a violation of international law and the UN Charter. Oman also expressed its condemnation of the Iranian missile attack in Qatar, which is considered an unacceptable act that violates the sovereignty of the country and contradicts the policy of good neighborliness. Oman also expressed solidarity with Qatar and the measures it is taking to preserve its security and stability. The Gulf Cooperation Council also condemned the missile attack carried out by Iran and emphasized that this attack is a violation of the sovereignty of Qatar and a direct attack on the security of all GCC countries. Jordan condemned the aggression launched by Iran against Qatar as a violation of Qatar's sovereignty, international law, and the UN Charter. Egypt also denounced the Iranian attacks on Qatar, which are a violation of its sovereignty, a threat to its territorial integrity, and a violation of international law and the UN Charter. The Arab League also expressed its full solidarity with Qatar over the attack on its sovereignty and violation of its airspace by Iran. Bahrain welcomed the announcement by U.S. President Donald Trump of a comprehensive ceasefire agreement between Iran and Israel, describing it as a positive development to halt war and support regional peace and stability. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs reiterated Bahrain's firm position, calling for avoiding escalation and setting all differences and disputes through dialogue and peaceful means, and expediting the resumption of U.S.-Iranian negotiations on the Iranian nuclear file, thus enhancing security, stability and peace in the region and the world, expressing hope that all parties will adhere to the content of this agreement. Attorney General Dr. Ali Al-Bu'ainain issued a decision to establish narcotics crime prosecution, which will be responsible for investigating and handling offences stipulated in Law 15 of 2007 concerning narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. This comes as a part of efforts to enhance specialization and efficiency in addressing crimes that have a significant impact on security and public health. The Assistant Attorney General, Councillor Wael Boualai, highlighted that this decision supports the national plan to combat drugs and stems from the importance of specialization in dealing with this type of crime. He added that the purpose of establishing this prosecution is to enhance the effectiveness of investigations, expedite procedures, and ensure the effective prosecution of offenders through professional handling of such crimes, in line with their local and international developments. For more on this topic, we are joined by Chief Prosecutor Ahmed Hamad Al-Fadl from the Public Prosecution. Hello and welcome, Mr. Al-Fadl. Can you please tell us what is the purpose of establishing the narcotic crime prosecution, and what impact does this decision have on combating such crimes?
First, I'd like to thank Bahrain TV for giving us the opportunity to speak about the establishment of the narcotics crimes prosecution. This decision, issued by His Excellency Dr. Ali bin Fadl al-Bu'ainain, the Attorney General, reflects the public prosecution's strategic approach towards specialization and its continuous efforts to develop the skills of its prosecutors in handling different types of crimes. Drug-related offenses in particular require swift and decisive procedures, both at the investigation stage and during referral to the courts, to ensure swift justice and effective crime prevention. The creation of a dedicated narcotics crimes prosecution will strengthen our ability to tackle all forms of drug-related offenses, whether traditional, synthetic, or newly emerging substances, and it enables us to respond more efficiently and comprehensively to the evolving nature of this threat. Importantly, this step also reflects a modern legal approach in dealing with drug users, treating them as patients in need of care, using up-to-date medical practices, in accordance with the provisions of the law. And ultimately, this decision marks a significant move in our national efforts to combat drugs in all their forms and to protect the community through both legal and rehabilitative means.
And that was Chief Prosecutor Ahmed Hamad Al-Fadl. Thank you for your joining. The Board of Trustees and the Higher Education Council held its meeting under the chairmanship of the Minister of Education and Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Council, Dr. Mohammed Jum'a. The board reviewed the implementation of the decisions taken at the previous meeting, reviewed a number of reports on the performance of higher education sector, discussed requests received from higher education institutions, and issued a number of decisions regarding requests for creating academic programs and requests for memoranda of cooperation, requests for the formation of boards of trustees, and requests for appointments. The council approved granting 5-year institutional accreditation for the American University of Bahrain and approved the renewal of 5-year institutional accreditation for a number of universities. It also decided to extend the institutional accreditation for 6 months for Kingdom University and Bahrain Institute of Banking and Finance. The council decided to grant a 5-year programmatic accreditation for the Bachelor of Architecture program offered at Kingdom University. It approved the updated operational plan of the council and took note of results of review of a higher education sector development indicators and the periodic report to follow up on the implementation of the council's operational plan initiatives. The Minister of Industry and Commerce, Abdullah Fakhru, yesterday participated in the Bahrain-Saudi Industrial Integration meeting at Bahrain Expo, co-chairing the session with the Saudi Deputy Minister of Industry and Mineral Resources for Industrial Affairs, Khalil bin Ibrahim bin Salama. Fakhru highlighted the deep-rooted and historic ties between Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, underscoring the vital role of the Saudi-Bahraini Coordination Council in advancing cooperation across various domains. During the meeting, both sides reviewed the achievements of the first phase of industrial integration and signed an agreement to launch the second phase, marking a significant step towards further strengthening industrial collaboration and aligning with their shared vision for the sector. The Minister of Industry and Commerce, Abdullah Fakhru, yesterday participated in the Saudi Industry Forum 2025 at Bahrain International Exhibition Center in the eastern region of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The event was held under the patronage of His Royal Highness, the Governor of the Eastern region in Saudi Arabia, Prince Saud bin Nayef bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. The forum was attended by the Deputy Minister in Industry and Mineral Resources for Industrial Affairs, the President of Federation of Saudi Chambers, and President of Aramco. The forum runs from June 23rd till the 25th and features over 320 exhibitors from major local and international companies and hosts more than 78 speakers from industry and economic leadership. The event includes panel discussions, lectures, and workshops on the latest technological developments, investment opportunities, and best practices for supporting local content and boosting national exports. The Ministry of Interior affirmed via the X platform that warning sirens in the Kingdom of Bahrain were sounded at 7:37 p.m. yesterday following a detection of foreign objects in the airspace of the Kingdom of Bahrain, and it was found that they were heading out of the airspace. We urge citizens and residents to follow the instructions issued by the official authorities.
Part of the precautionary civil protection measures to enhance public safety, the General Notifications and Sirens Alerts feature is available on the MyGov app. To ensure you activate this feature, please update MyGov app through the official stores in iOS, Android and Huawei devices or bahrain.bh/apps. Then click on the settings at the bottom of the screen and enable the General Notifications feature, designated for emergency alerts.
The Civil Aviation Affairs of the Ministry of Transportation and Telecommunications announced the complete reopening of airspace in the skies of the Kingdom of Bahrain. As a part of boosting the national security system, the National Civil Emergency Management Committee continues its efforts to promote a culture of readiness in the different circumstances. The committee is working to coordinate its work with various ministries to enhance performance, efficiency, and community partnership. More in this report.
With the keen follow-up and direct guidance from higher authorities, the National Civil Emergency Management Committee continues to implement its comprehensive national plan to address emergency situations in light of the rapid regional changes taking place. During the recent period, the committee held a series of coordination meetings with the participation of representatives from relevant authorities and ministries to review emergency plans, update response procedures, and assess the level of technical and human readiness of various sectors. And implementation of the directives of the Civil Defence Council and the Kingdom of Bahrain's commitment to safeguarding national security and ensuring the safety of citizens and residents. The committee is concerned with enhancing joint coordination and integrating roles between official bodies to ensure the continuity of essential services and expedite dealing with any developments in accordance with the high standards of efficiency and safety. The committee emphasizes the importance of effective institutional communication with citizens and residents through issuing awareness statements and updating information on a regular basis to keep everyone safe and increase confidence in the national system. This comes within the framework of a proactive approach adopted by the Kingdom of Bahrain to ensure community security and to deal with crises according to scientific principles and approved methodology, reflecting high readiness and full preparedness for all possible scenarios. Dear citizens and residents, when hearing the first warning sirens while driving, kindly do the following. Continue driving and clear the left lane to open the way for emergency vehicles, civil defense, ambulances, traffic, security patrols to perform their duties. Listen to official media channels. Seek shelter in the nearest building or take cover in non-exposed areas until the danger has passed. Dear citizens and residents, if you're at home or at work, kindly do the following. Be calm, don't go out except for essentials, and as per instructions and guidelines issued by competent authorities. When you hear the second warning siren when the danger ends and situations are back to normal, the following procedures should be considered. Do not gather near affected areas for your safety and avoid hindering civil defense saving lives operations. Do not pick up objects thrown on the ground even if they are familiar to you.
In implementation of the Royal Directives of His Majesty the King of Bahrain and the order of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs continues its efforts to facilitate the return of Bahraini citizens stranded in countries affected by the current situation, which the number of people whose return has been facilitated so far reaching 1,215 citizens. 2 Gulf airplanes arrived from Turkmenistan with the 350 Bahraini citizens who were facilitated to return from Iran. A delegation from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Health, Bahrain Airport Services Company and Gulf Air welcomed them upon their arrival at Bahrain International Airport, where they were provided with the necessary facilities and health checks. The Embassy of Bahrain in Oman received a number of Bahraini families returning from Iran's Bandar Abbas in cooperation with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Oman. Bahrain's embassies in Kuwait and Iraq followed up with securing the return of Bahraini citizens via buses through the Abdali border crossing between Kuwait and Iraq and the Shalmaja crossing between Iran and Iraq. The ministry expresses its thanks and appreciation to the competent authorities in the Saudi Arabia, the UAE and Kuwait.